Hey, if you're watching this next clip without a VPN, your IP address can be used for spying or tracking. Keep your IP address and internet activity private, whether you're at home or on the go with NordVPN. Now stay tuned to see how you can save 75% on a 3-year plan.
Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity had a little reunion, okay? Chatting it up, freaking out about socialism. Take a look.
As Newsweek said when I first said this on Fox, and now the New York Times Magazine has said this, we're all socialists now. When did everyone become a socialist?
So I apologize, I think that was the wrong video. That was Colonel Sanders. I wanted the Glenn Beck video, okay.
Sorry. Socialism is finger looking good. So they're gonna get weirdly conspiratorial in a minute. Of course they are, right? These two P-mind guys. All right, two P-brain fellas. So, but before we even get into the conspiracies, look, this whole demagoguing about socialism, it drives me crazy. And look, I defend capitalism on this show. We just had a bunch of members yelling at me that capitalism sucks. We'll talk about it more in the post game, tyt.com/join to become a member. But the reality is, it's a mixed economy. It's in Germany, it's a mixed economy. In Norway it is, in the US it is. Some things are public, some things are private. And so there is no clear delineation. So most of the other developed countries think that healthcare insurance should be public because it affects your life, like cops do. They save your life. Firefighters, they save your life. Doctors, they save your life. And so now it doesn't mean the doctors have to be all public as well, although some countries do that, like the United Kingdom. It's not a crazy idea, but what most countries think is, if you don't have insurance, we're not gonna let you die. But here in America, we go, oh yeah, we'll let you die. Hey, you couldn't afford it, that's your problem, right? So, but these guys turn around and go, socialism, they're gonna take over everything. Nobody's taken over the Nike factories. Nobody's taking over cars, okay?
Well, Beck asks, like, when did everybody become socialist, right? When they started enjoying the benefits of Social Security benefits, right? When they started enjoying Medicare, when they started enjoying police officers, when they started enjoying firefighters, when they stared enjoying the roads. The public parks. Like, all of these things are publicly funded, they're public programs. And so when you hear from the scary socialist candidates or scary socialist politicians, they're not calling for the government to make you your clothing or your shoes. They just want to ensure that certain programs don't have a profit motive because they're human rights, like healthcare, for instance.
Yeah, just real quick, last thing on that, and then we'll get to their other much crazier clips. If you're saying like, oh, they started enjoying the fire department, what do you mean? No, fire departments used to be privatized in this country. And then you know what happened? It's only put out the fire in the house that was insured. But then fires would spread from the uninsured houses to the insured houses, and then the whole city would burn down. So we decided to make the fire department public, like we should do for health insurance. But these clowns get out there and go, oh my God, it's socialism. And Anna's exactly right. We have socialism in this country, and almost every one of those programs is deeply popular. Medicare is at 77%, Social Security is at 84%. Yesterday on the show, I was talking to a person who made a documentary that had a Proud Boy in it, and he's like, I hate Medicare, man, I want to get rid of it. Well, what do you live on? A disability check.
Oh, come on.
That's from the government, you clown, okay? So anyway, but we got more, let's keep watching these lunatics.
I'm talking about the Democratic neighbor that I get along with right down the street. They don't believe in infanticide. They don't believe in destroying the free market system. They don't believe in all of the stuff that is coming out of the mouths of these radicals. What's going to shake them? When are we going to have our Labour Party movement, where you have that in England, that the Socialist Party has noticed, wow, it looks like we're just full with radicals and anti-Semites, and members of the Labour Party in England are leaving the party saying, this is too radical for me.
Yeah, this guy who was a never Trumper now kisses Donald Trump's ass on the daily, talking about anti-Semitism when Donald Trump said there was very fine people on the Nazi side during the Charlottesville rallies, went to the Republican Jewish leaders and said, you know, this room renegotiates more than any other room. And you guys like to buy your politicians, but you can't buy me. You're talking about anti-Semitism? Get out of here, man. And every part of this is ridiculous. Infanticide. Who's talking about infanticide? They took the Virginia governor's comments and totally twisted them out of proportion. He was talking about whether they should do CPR on a baby that had already died and had no chance of living, right? And they're like, oh no, they just want to murder babies.
Actually,
infanticide.
I want to talk about infanticide for a second. I actually think it is important to bring up infanticide. I remember when a pregnant prisoner in Sheriff Clark's prison was going into labor begging for medical attention that she didn't get, and that baby didn't survive. Are conservatives upset about that? Because Sheriff Clark is being, paraded around town as this great conservative. So are conservatives celebrating him while accusing the left of infanticide? Come on.
Sheriff Clark
is trash. He's full-blown trash for what he did to those prisoners. That one woman being one of them. But one prisoner died of thirst. And you guys want to run around talking about how you're pro-life, please.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's reviled by the left, but he should be reviled by the right even more. I mean, that actually happened. The baby died because he wouldn't bring medical attention to the baby. And you guys claim to be pro-life? That's the one case where there actually was infanticide. Okay, so they're just monsters, but there's more.
He said the people that he knows that are in the Democratic Party are too afraid of the mob. And that's exactly what this cult, this cult of death, I think, is stirring up. This mob that will shut you down unless you agree with absolutely everything. And we lose the country if good, decent people don't stand up on both sides.
I'd argue the cult of death is the cult that will make excuses for 2 migrant minorities who die under Border Patrol custody. That's the cult of death, if you ask me.
Cult of death, what the hell is he talking about? I mean, these guys are taken seriously as if they're making legitimate points, when all they do is spread fear, hatred, paranoia, and conspiracies. One more.
What's the antidote? That's what I wanted to ask you.
Waking up, and I don't know if there's an antidote, but I will tell you this: if the Republicans don't win in this next election, I think we are officially at the end of the country as we know it.
No, that's the first thing that I finally agree with Glenn Beck on. It would be the end of the country as we know it. So Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity, the country they know, white people rule. And they lord their power over all minorities. And now everybody would be equal and everybody gets to vote and Democrats might win and then they would get health insurance for everybody and the poor wouldn't die in the streets. That's the end of the country as we know it. I mean, in the country we know and love, the powerful get more powerful, the rich get richer, and they crush everyone. And now they're gonna end the country as we know it and gonna make everybody goddamn equal. So I'm telling you, that's why they're in a cold sweat panic, because they know that it's the end. The Southern strategy that they did for decade after decade, where they appealed to racist voters in the South to get an electoral advantage. Pat Buchanan talked to me about it on MSNBC. He's one of the guys who created it. He said we had a nice 40-year run. Now they've had a nice 50-year run, okay? And it's coming to an end. And so that is why they do the voter ID laws. That's why they hate immigrants. They've alienated every minority group in the country: gays, blacks, Latinos, Muslims, Jews, you name it. And I mean, he talked about anti-Semitism. Do you know that Democrats vote about in the last, and they did in 2016 as well, 70% Democratic, 70% of Jews in America voted for Hillary Clinton, okay? So they've alienated everyone, pushed them out of the party, because that was their brilliant strategy. We'll just stick with white people, and the way that we'll get more whites to vote with us is by being more discriminatory against other groups. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. And so they're left with these nut jobs like Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity going, oh my God, it's the end of the country, as we know it, as we love it, when whites reigned supreme. Well, sad day for you, it is the end. And in 2020, we're going to clean your clock and we're gonna run you out of town and we're gonna have an actual democracy in this country where everyone's gonna have the same rights. Gay people are gonna get to have the same exact rights as straight people. And I know that drives you crazy, but it's gonna happen. Black people, Latinos, we're gonna actually care about their lives. We're not gonna let them die at the border. We're not gonna let them die unarmed with cops shooting them disproportionately. We're going to give equal rights. But unlike you guys, we're not going to oppress people. I know they think they do projection. When they were in charge, they oppressed minorities for hundreds of years. And so they assume if the minorities are in charge, my God, what are they gonna do to us, right? Well, the reality is we're way more decent than the right-wingers like you guys. And by the way, you don't represent all white people. There's wonderful, of course, the majority of white people in this country, of course, decent, loving people just like the rest of us and believe in progressive ideals, American ideals. They believe in the Constitution.
I mean, no one's whiter than John Iadarola, and he's lovely.
You're literally Caucasian.
I am.
Okay, no, but they view everything in racial terms. And when we push back and say, hey, can you not arrest black people disproportionately? They go, race baiting. Now you don't want us to disproportionately crush African Americans. That's unfair, that's unfair. To them, as I've been telling you all show, equality equals oppression because they have a certain sense of entitlement. Look, last thing about these two clowns. In this long interview, they also talked about how the Islamists, the anarchists, and the socialists were all finally getting together and had this coalition. What are you talking about, man?
No, we all get together in like one giant smoke-filled room.
What Islamists? There's like 3 Muslim American Congress people out of 535 Congress people. What Islamists? And they're not Islamists, they're Muslim Americans. They're not radicals. Which anarchists are taking over the country? If they took it over, they'd give it back, wouldn't they? They're anarchists. Okay, so none of this makes any sense. But Fox News viewers are like, oh yeah. Remember when Louis Gohmert said Obama was gonna reconstitute the Ottoman Empire? Where the hell's the Ottoman Empire? And remember you guys were all supposed to be in FEMA camps. Where's the FEMA camps? You're wrong, and you're led by a bunch of lunatics like Glenn Beck on his gyroscope and Sean Hannity, one of the dumbest guys to ever be on television. And that's the Republican Party. Now, more about how you can save 75% off the only VPN to receive a perfect score from PC Mag. Just simply head over to nordvpn.com/TYT to keep yourself protected from prying eyes. And for a short time only, use the code TYT to get an extra month of Nord for free. Thanks for watching.